Hello, hello. Welcome back
Hi.
to the L.A.M.E Book Club podcast. My name is Melissa.
I'm Ellie.
To really jump the gun there.
No, you said hello. I just said hi, and then I was like, too quick. Pull it back.
Ran it in. You're really excited. Episode 7. This is a big deal. I don't know why.
know.
It just feels like it is.
Because it's
It feels
episode
like
7.
Well, it feels like it's not like, okay, like we have a few under our belt at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why, for me, it feels, I mean, we're not double digits or anything, but it's like, okay, we've been doing this for a little bit now.
Yeah. Feels great.
I know.
It's
I'm
like
excited.
7 weeks. So it feels more of like
Good.
a
That's
normal
really
routine.
good. Good job. Yep. 7 episodes, 7 weeks.
All right.
Just kidding. That was me. I apologize.
Let's jump in.
Wait, before we jump in.
Yeah.
I've been seeing this online, and I actually talked about it with my sister-in-law last night, but I want to bring it up because I feel like I know your answer. Similarly to how the Roman era thing is big online right now, apparently it's big to ask questions or ask a guy a question. The question: do you think you could land a plane if you needed to? And we asked Zeke, and like immediately he said yes.
Does he have any training?
The most experience he has is flying coach.
No, is the question like, could you be guided through landing a plane? Like, you know how in emergency situations they can get someone over the thing?
I don't think
It's just like, could you land
specific.
the plane?
Yeah, it's like, do you think you could land a plane? Just like, how often do you think about the Roman Empire? I mean,
that is
just
bold.
Do you think you could land a plane? I know.
I like the confidence. I guarantee
you could land a plane?
Me personally,
you're thinking about it. I might immediately know. That's my answer.
I would try my hardest.
I mean, I would try, but there's no way. Have you seen how many buttons are in the cockpit of a plane?
Are they labeled?
Does
Ellie? One say land the plane?
No, there's not a land the plane button. The landing and takeoff are the most manual parts of flying.
80% of me says I could not do it, but there's
1,000% of me says you couldn't.
So if I asked Grant this, though, he would absolutely say yes, but he, was working with...
Oh, that's true. I feel like
helicopters and stuff like that.
Everyone I know, I have the most confidence that he probably could because of his military
But also,
training.
he does the flight simulator games all the time with a like real...
Those?
Well, I think they're pretty dang similar because it uses like a real joystick. I'd like for you to guess what this joystick is called in all seriousness.
Airplane, buddy.
Thrustmaster.
You're kidding.
I swear to you, I can go grab it.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
They had to have done that on purpose.
I think so. It's horrible.
Oh, man. Wait, but airplanes don't use a joystick. They use like a more like it's more like a game controller. Like, I mean, way bigger, but it's like a...
Yeah, it's like this.
But no, it's like two hands. It's not just one. No. You don't... It's not like a claw machine game.
I don't know if he's using like a little prop plane. I don't know what it is. But
I guess that's true. I'm thinking of like... I mean, I guess I don't know how all planes operate, but I'm thinking like the Boeing 737s that you fly in, like on Southwest.
Oh, yeah. I don't know about all that. Definitely don't think I could land that.
Well, that's immediately the plane that I thought of.
I could land anything, but will I kill all of us?
Will I survive?
Yeah,
that's true. The plane will connect with the ground.
One way or another, it will go down at some point.
One way or another, it's going down. All right. Okay, well, glad we got that out of the way. Jumping in this week, it's episode 7, A Court of Wings and Ruin. We are starting in chapter 24. We're going to go through chapter 56. And a lot of good stuff happens in these chapters. So as much as I mean, at this point, everyone knows our thoughts on Elaine. So as much as I don't immediately want to start with her, that's where we pick up in chapter 24. Elaine and the riddles. So she's talking now, but it's in riddles. What were you thinking about that?
Classic. I was just thinking classic. Of course, you're no help. You
Did
come out of
it
this
make you
funk to like
wonder?
speak nonsense.
Did it make you wonder where the story was going though? Or did you think it was just Elaine?
I I no, I don't know what I was
I felt
thinking. I
like
just
Sarah
was
J.
reading
Maas
along.
added that just to annoy me. Because I'm like, I don't see how this could be going anywhere.
I thought because Nesta did they kind of talked about how something was different with her and something's
Well, yeah,
obviously
she
different with
knew.
Elaine.
Well, they kept asking after this started happening. They asked Nesta like, "Do you have any powers?" And she just kept saying I don't know because she was
Mhm.
I think scared to find out. So she wasn't other than like her training with Aunt Amryn, but like that hasn't really started as much yet.
Yeah.
Um, she's like kind of in denial, so she's not blubbering mess like Elaine, but she's not
Mhm.
trying to figure out if she has anything either.
I thought maybe Elaine was just like broken at that point. I don't think that
Yeah.
I even related it to her having powers or anything.
No. Oh yeah. No, I definitely didn't. I was just like it. I didn't think Elaine could get worse until she started saying these things, and I'm like, I thought she was broken too.
Yeah.
So I was like, is this what we're getting
Is
for
this
the rest of the story?
Do you hate us?
Is this a personal attack? Because I don't understand.
Have you seen the reel that's going around right now where it's like I don't remember if it's Jamie Lee Curtis, but somebody is oh no, it's not Jamie Lee Curtis. It's the lady that's in Harry Potter, the older
The
lady.
old lady? Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, grow up, like get a hold of yourself, act your age. And it's in reference to Elaine having this like beautiful mate, but she's crying over this whatever human.
Oh, no, I haven't. I
It's
need to find it.
I'll post it. It's so funny.
Oh my gosh,
It's
that's yeah.
basically like stop being ungrateful and just
Professor
get over
what's her
it.
name? I don't even wanna say it because I don't want the
Ooh, I
Harry
know.
Potter cult to come after me. Okay, I
McGonagall.
yes,
Professor
thank you.
McGonagall.
I was gonna say I didn't say anything because I know this wasn't right, but I was gonna say monocle, like the
Oh, I
like
was
the
hoping
eye.
you wouldn't say Professor X.
Okay, I'm not that I know which one's from Harry Potter and which one's from not Harry Potter. That's fine.
There it is. From not that.
From the other. However, I want to bring this up. After she starts talking like this is the first time that Elaine actually meets Lucian.
Mm,
Even though he is declared to the world, to Highburn, to, well, I guess, their enemies, everyone, that they're mates. This is
mhm.
the first conversation that they're having where she
Yeah,
actually meets
because
him.
Reese and Feyre like allowed him to be
Well,
in the House of
Feyre,
Wind
like,
with them.
yeah, Feyre's really concerned for her, so she wants Lucian. She's like reads his mind
Right.
and like see like and then like is saying maybe seeing
Yeah.
if he can get something out of her. But then it's like a awkward, cordial conversation, and then Elaine says, "Hey, you betrayed you betrayed me," and he
Mhm.
was like, "I'm so sorry, that was a mistake," and then just casual was like, "Yeah, I'm supposed to get married next week," like awkward.
Ew. I
I know,
just hate
or a
their
few days.
interactions. Even Lucian, I
I mean,
feel is
this one's supposed to be painful
yeah.
because of everything he did. If he hadn't have announced it like that, this would be a totally normal conversation. And truthfully, I feel like he'd have more of a chance than he does right now.
Oh, I
But
agree with that. That's a
he
hot
made
take.
things weird.
Mhm.
He made things weird.
He
That's
did.
exactly like someone responded to our stories on Instagram next week. He's the guy that can I have a hug? Like the really awkward, really
Hey, where's
bad
my hug
timing.
at?
So, can I have a hug?
So so ick.
It was so yeah. Ugh. And then she tells him that she can hear his heart beating through the walls while he sleeps, which is just left it on a weird note. Typical Elaine.
Classic.
So, but hot take. Do you think Elaine should be with Lucian or Azriel?
I think Elaine should be with Lucian because I don't really care for Lucian at this point. So, a perfect couple if you ask me. But really, when you think okay, so I've seen this written in a few places, but Azriel doesn't have much of a storyline. Like
Oh, I know. I'm
he's
excited. I hope his gets elaborated in the next book.
right. He has a lot of potential, I think, but right now he's kind of, I'm just going to say it. I know there's going to be a lot of hate, but he's kind of bland too. But when
I
you
don't think
put
he's bland. I just think for me, he's not bland. It's just he's still too unknown for me to feel like I connect with
sure.
him as much as I connect with Reese and Cassian.
Yeah. But I've seen where people are like, you put Azriel and Elaine together, it's not going to be like a great story because their characters are both so bland. You really need someone to like bring out the fire in each of them. And so for that reason, I'm out.
And who better to bring fire than a son of the High Lord of the Autumn Court?
Exactly.
Literal fire. No, I don't know. Everything in me wants to say Azrael because I would love for all three sisters to be with the three Bat Boys.
That
Like I think
okay.
that would be
Yes.
cool. That'd
Yes,
be
it would
fun.
be.
Fun for vacays.
I honestly I couldn't get over a lot of this. That two of the
Well,
mates were they're sisters and they're also like like brothers. But
yeah, I
mates are
know.
supposed to be like one in a million. Like it's hard to find your mate.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I ship I hate ugh. I just gave myself the ick for saying that. But like I think Cassian and Nesta, they're kind of hinting towards
Yeah.
that being a thing.
Yeah.
And then which I don't see her with anyone ever. But they're hinting at it. And so the thought of all three of them being with this I don't even I mean, they wouldn't be mates though if she
Mhm.
was with Azrael because they've already clearly stated that she's mates with Lucian. But and Nesta even asks Feyre like right after because both Feyre's wondering at this
Mhm.
point in the book about her and Azrael, and then Nesta I think is kind of wondering it too because she asks Feyre how the mating bond works, like
Mhm.
how does that happen, and then Reese explains that it can be rejected, and it's generally easier for females to reject it than a male because it makes him like almost like primal
Mhm.
and and then I just feel like Sarah J. Maas doesn't ever say anything just to say it. Like everything comes back to something.
Right.
And in this book, she specifically states that Sarah J. Maas, she specifically adds makes a point to add in here where if a female chooses another after she's mated, then almost always the mate in that situation will challenge the male of her choice
Mhm.
and it often ends in death. And
Hmm.
I just feel like she doesn't just say things like that to be like a casual, yeah, like she can deny it and pick someone else and that other guy could die and then like move on. That's not
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like that's like the easy next step in that. I don't know. I'm not necessarily saying she's going to pick Azrael, but I feel like that is foreshadowing whatever's going to happen in
Sure.
her story.
Okay, have
Next.
you seen the theories? So I read this week or listened that to the interview with Sarah J. Maas where they ask her,
Yes.
"Hey, do you listen to the fan theories?" And she's like, "Absolutely not. I don't know almost any of
Yeah.
them." And that's insane. But I
I'm
like that
so
so it
glad
doesn't
that she
influence
doesn't.
her.
Exactly.
Exactly. But have you seen the theory that Tamlin is going to get a redemption story and Elaine would mesh really well with Tamlin? And if you remember Feyre's
Yeah.
paintings, how Feyre drew like for herself night and stars, and for Nesta like
It was fire
fire, and for
and
Elaine flowers.
flowers. Yeah.
And
I
Elaine wants to be protected and feel comfort and just live like a quiet, simple life. And Tamlin wants that in a wife. He wants someone to protect and to like submit and just kind of live there with him and keep him company.
yeah, I don't know. I was actually just talking with my friend Taylor about or I don't remember if it was this week or last week, but
Mhm.
the like idea of Tamlin having a redemption story and I don't know. I
I
don't
want
think
it.
I care.
I
I
want it.
don't.
I do.
Like I'm fine without it. I
I'm
wouldn't
not.
be mad. I wouldn't be mad if he had one, but
Yeah.
it's not like important to me. Or I'm not even like, if I had to pick, be like, hey, should Tamlin get a redemption story and maybe end up with Elaine, or should we just keep going? I'd be like, keep
I'll
going.
tell you
He's
right
in the,
now,
just
I
like how
would
you said last
rather
week, he is the past.
no.
Let's move
He's
on.
also the future. I would rather have he's the past with Feyre, but
He's the past in my life.
I get that. I get that for you. But I would rather have his story be next um than Azriel. Like a
Oh, no.
redemption
See,
story for
I'd
him.
rather learn more about a character that I like that
Mhm.
is still borderline mysterious, because not just because of his emo personality, but
Mhm.
because of we just don't know enough about him, versus the villain in the story getting a character arc
Yeah.
and then still not knowing enough about Azrael.
Okay, so out of all the characters, who would you cuz she's writing the next ACOTAR book and I'm going to bet it's from somebody
It's
else's perspective.
it has to be Elaine, and I feel like her.
Do you think? What if it's
Yes, I
more? It
mean,
could be more.
I'd rather see Elaine's first
Mm.
because I want to like her.
Yeah. We'll
And
get into
here's
this
because
with
like
the
I Nesta drove me crazy this
yeah.
entire series. I'm like, I don't understand how someone could be so annoying and just so rude the way that she is. But
Yeah.
then in A Court of Silver Flames, it's from her point of view,
Yeah.
and I that is tied for my favorite one of my favorite books in the
It is
series,
one of my
because
favorites as well.
the way
So
that she wrote it, I was so identified with Nesta, and you just learn so much about her inner thoughts.
mhm.
I want that for Elaine. I want
I
to think that
know.
she
Well,
has more
no.
to her.
I would love to see that she has more to her. Maybe she's gonna be my new favorite character, and then
Exactly.
I'm gonna redact everything. I'm gonna come back
Yes.
on all of these podcasts, redacted. Um,
Protect.
so that leads me into the next thing. We felt so bad for Moira when Reese tried to
Oh,
use
that's true.
Eris to bargain with her dad and to use soldiers in the upcoming war. I want to ask you, have you ever been blindsided by anybody similarly? But first, I want to talk about that scene with Eris. Kind of makes you wonder if Sarah J. Maas is going to expand on his character, because he says a lot of things like, well, like, you don't know the whole story. And
Oh, yeah.
so his story is one I
I'm
am
here for
dying to
his
hear.
redemption.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I would love to see. Oh my, wait. Oh, what if Elaine got with him?
I like that. I
Because
almost kind of wanted Nesta too, but
you know what? I actually wouldn't have. That's a conversation for the last book, but
yeah,
I wouldn't have hated that as much either.
I know.
No, yes, when this all happened, because I mean, Moore confronts him about what she did and says that like she didn't want to be like hit by him and like used by him based because of rumors that she had heard and
Mhm.
all this stuff, and like she's like, you left me for dead, and then he just comes back and he's just like, you don't know, like, you don't know the half of it, you don't know what you're talking about. He was like, you also don't even know, bless you.
Thank you. I have horrible allergies, so excuse all the sniffling and sneezing.
It's fine. um Bless you. Bless you
I'm
again.
so sorry. Just go on. Keep
I
going.
am. No, and then even talks about I mean, they bring up Lucian and like what Lucian's family did to him and his lover from in the
Mhm.
past, and how they killed her like right in front of him, and then
Yeah.
tried to kill him, and he was like, nope, again, you don't know the whole story, like, you don't know that I'm actually the reason that I didn't partake in killing her, and I got Lucian
Mhm.
out and told Tamlin so that he could come give him asylum, and I got like in trouble with my dad for that.
Yeah.
And like about the whole Moore thing, how he was like, I saw the lengths that you went to not be with me, so I gave you the freedom that you were like desperately wanting.
Yeah.
And stuff. And when he was, I'm like, he had the perfect answers for everything, but it also didn't feel like he was just saying the right things. Like, it seemed
No, it seems legitimate.
genuine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
that's where I
also,
was
like you
like,
said, she wouldn't write
oh,
those things in without coming back to him.
exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, I hated him up until this point because of, I mean, that we didn't know anything about him other than the bad things that he was either associated
Mhm.
with or did or presumed to have done.
Yeah.
But now I'm like,
No,
I wonder.
and Reese had a lot of these like, "Oh, well, you don't
Exactly.
know the full story." And so I'm
Exactly.
though we don't have
I'm
Eris's full
optimistic.
story entirely of like all the bad things he did,
Mhm.
I'm really excited to see how, because I truly think he's going to be one of those, like, he was the good guy all along. He took the glasses off. You were beautiful all along.
You know what, actually, if he doesn't end up with Elaine, I would be open to seeing him in more,
Yeah, me too. I
like,
wasn't going to say it, but me
reconciling and,
too.
like, actually if he actually turns out to, we know we're not going to love him as much as we love Reese, but if he turns out to be a Reese where you think he's one way
Yeah.
and then you actually learn that he's not and he
Mhm.
actually cares and all that stuff, I would be, because I want good things for more. So I
Yeah.
would be open
Yeah.
to hearing like that being what ended up happening. But
Yep.
and especially at that point too, to really spite her dad, because
Yeah.
the only reason he wanted it was for the connection, and then for that to happen, but then him not get the connection.
Yeah. Also, stay tuned to our podcast, because when we talk about a court of, what is it?
Silver
Silver
Flames.
Flames? Yeah. There's new characters introduced, and that's who I'd want Asriel to be with.
True. True.
Yeah.
Back to the whole back betrayal
Mhm.
thing though. You
Oh,
said
yeah.
how
So we feel so bad for Moore when Reese tries to use Eris to bargain with her dad in the upcoming war. Have you ever been blindsided or betrayed in such a way? Or any way?
well, not in that sense, like not as
Right.
badly as Moore has. The only thing I can think of is like petty high school betrayal
Sure.
of a certain person I assumed was a friend that dated a boy that broke my heart after we dated, like weeks after.
Mhm.
Um, but I mean, that was like high school. I felt in at that period in my life, that felt like the ultimate. I was like, I'll never feel more betrayed in my entire life ever.
Ugh, doesn't high
Which,
school
to be
do that to
fair,
you?
well, to be fair, I still don't feel
You
as
still have
betrayed.
not been betrayed. That's so sad.
but but I mean, I literally couldn't care less now. That's just like the first thing that popped in my head.
Yeah.
But I don't think back on it. All that to say is I feel like I've had a pretty good life to say that that was like the most I feel betrayed.
Yeah. That's a good, that is a good
A
perspective to
good
have.
problem.
Uh-huh.
A good problem.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But
Um I
yeah, I
can't
don't know. What
immediately
about
think of any. So, I've had friends still boys, but
you? Okay. If you're just listening, she gave me a very pointed stare. And
the
if we're
dating
gonna
pool was small. I'll give you that.
we went to a very, very small high school. There was like 100 people in my class. There was like 80 in yours because you graduated a year before
I
me.
know, and we didn't want the boys in my class.
We did not want the boys in your class. um, also didn't want most in mine either, but there were better options.
There were slightly better options in the class above me and below me. Better options.
Yours really
No, I
not as
know.
much.
I like pointedly am
Um,
not going to go to my like high school reunion. Well, first of all, I don't think we're having a high school reunion, and if we are, I just never got invited, I think.
it's crazy. We're already starting to plan my 10-year one. It's next year,
Yeah, so
which
mine
I
should be
got.
this year.
It should be this year. I got the invite already for next year, so
You got the
I'm
invite to
guess.
the class before mine too.
Yeah. Oh yes, that was so funny. I remember texting you because I it didn't. It's not as cool as it sounds. Again, there was just very few people at our high school, so I hung out with a lot of my friends were 2 years older than me for the first 2 years of high school because then they graduated. But I don't know if it was, that's the funny thing is the class president that organized this was not one of the people that I necessarily considered like a close friend of mine, but she still invited me to the class of 2012 high school reunion, the Instagram about it, and I was like, I no,
She
like
doesn't even go here.
I would feel even more dumb showing up to that one than I would showing up to mine.
Why are those so awkward? Like, I
I don't
just
know.
feel like, why do we do this to ourselves?
I mean,
It's like
we
a,
again, past is the past. Let's keep
I
going.
know. And we're
I
all just
wish
kind
you
of
could come to
comparing
mine though,
lives.
because
Oh,
I
I
would go.
do. I was a lot closer with everyone in your grade, though. than my
I know.
own.
Well, here's the thing. The people who are organizing mine are inviting literally anyone that went to our class, not like that attended our school at the same time we did, not graduated with us. So I feel like you should be able to come at that point. If they're gonna invite people that
No
graduated
way.
from other high
That's
schools,
there is something more embarrassing, but the only thing I can think more embarrassing than someone not in that grade going to that high school reunion is like the kid that goes back to all the football games after he graduates. Embarrassing. That is so embarrassing.
yeah. Oh, ugh. Okay. I don't want to. I have a lot of things I could say, but I'm I'm gonna move on because it's gonna be boring. But yeah. So Feyre takes Nesta down to the library. And while they're down there, two of Hybern's soldiers are able to excuse me. Wow, I almost like I don't know what happened. Um while they're there, two soldiers are able to infiltrate and take Nesta back. Well, their goal is to take Nesta back to the king because they said that she took something from the cauldron. So this is I feel like at this point it's starting to answer some questions because Nesta's not really expanding on what's happening. I
Mhm.
mean, she doesn't know, and they can't quite figure out what's happening with Elaine, so they're wondering if maybe something's gonna happen with Nesta too. So we've learned here she took something.
Mhm.
And then I laughed out loud. they they reveal that the first mortal queen that went into the cauldron was mad that Nesta took
Yeah.
something from it. So when that queen went in, it gave her immortality, but it made her look like a grandma. And I was like, that is perfect. I am just so because I hate them. I'm so irritated with their
Mhm.
involvement. So I'm so glad that at least the first one got her just desserts. And
Just
it's like, sure,
desserts.
you'll live forever as a great grandmother. Because I mean, yeah, what's the point? If she was young. I mean, it even made a point to say she was. I
She was
think
the
she was the
young
youngest
queen.
queen,
Yeah,
right?
they called her the
Yeah,
young queen.
yeah, she was the youngest one. So to take that what one of the only things that she cared about herself away,
Yeah.
I was like, that was my favorite. Most I admired the cauldron in this whole story.
Yeah,
Um,
I
have you
loved
ever?
that.
But because like I laughed out loud when I was reading that. Have you
Mhm.
ever like laughed at an inappropriate time in a conversation?
Oh, yes. Well, the first thing I think of this okay, so my husband's dad passed away when he was 10 years old. And
Oh
he
no.
like doesn't process grief normally.
Okay.
And I think he's processed this grief. I mean, it's been over I think 15 years now. Yeah. And so he's processed this grief, but now he will like make horrible jokes
Oh.
about like I'll just say, his mom remarried, so I'll say, "Hey, are we, going to see your parents while we're in your home state?" And he'll be like, "Well, my dad's dead, so." And like I hate those jokes so much. I don't know how to
I know.
handle that. And so I'm like
I hate them too.
and he's like, "You're going to laugh at that?" Oh, I just feel
That is
horrible.
like yeah. There's no point in saying that unless you either A want to make someone uncomfortable or B want to use that as fuel to the fire to keep.
That's like
I
his
mean,
twisted
I know
humor. He
Grant, like
loves
I
making me
know
uncomfortable.
yeah, I was like I know Grant and I know he would never say something like that with his like intentions genuinely to be like just a reason to be
Right.
mad, like bring something up
Right.
to get mad at you at. But I would get mad at him because I'm like, even if you're kidding, that's not funny for me.
Okay, so agreed. So when we were, first dating, I was like mortified, like the blood would just rush from my face.
Oh
I'm so sorry. Also, I don't like know how to talk to people who are in any mood other than happy. Like if like maybe
yeah.
angry I can deal with, but like sadness, 10-foot pole, I don't know what to do. Like I used to work at a church and people would come in for prayer and I would be like, oh, okay, here we go. Like I'm
I
so
can do
uncomfortable with
this.
sadness. I don't know how to handle it. Anyways, so he would uh he would make these jokes. I'm mortified. Well, then he thought that was so funny. He got his sister and my brother-in-law to get in on the
No.
jokes too. So now cuz they all knew his dad growing up. And so they'll all make jokes like this and I'm so uncomfortable and they love it. It fuels them.
They thrive on it.
I know.
Do they still make you uncomfortable? Like
Mhm.
how long you guys have been married for like 6 years now, 7.
Yeah, going on 7. Yeah, they
Yeah.
sure do. It's the worst. I love it.
It's the worst. Awesome. At this point, I don't think that's ever gonna change.
No.
Um,
What about you?
yeah, that's the story of my life. I mean, I know I've mentioned this on other podcasts before too. Like, I'll say things in my head. This is I should be a comedian. Like, this
Mhm.
is comedic gold. Everyone's gonna crack up, and it just doesn't land.
Yeah.
And so then I get uncomfortable, and depending on what I don't mean, I can't think of a specific situation, but depending on what I even said, it might even actually have the opposite effect. It might like kill the mood, like,
It's that bad?
and sometimes,
Oh, no.
I hate to admit that, but yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
But then again, like depending on how that lands, like if I start laughing, it makes it worse. I don't know. I mean, like there's just if I'm uncomfortable, like oh my gosh, especially in a this isn't like an inappropriate situation in the same way that yours is, but there will be times at work where I'll be in a meeting with people that are like fairly high up above me in the
Mhm.
rankings of the company, and they'll be explaining something and they'll say like I'm either just like not fully understanding what they're saying, or I'm
Mhm.
just so uncomfortable that for me it makes sense to laugh to try and lighten the mood.
Mhm.
And they're like explaining a situation and like, yeah, because we don't want that. And I'm like, yeah, no, we don't. And they're not, it's not a joking thing.
Mhm.
Like, and then I don't know if they're uncomfortable, but I'm very uncomfortable after that for the rest of the time that I have to talk to them.
Ugh.
So that happens at least weekly, like very
Weekly?
often. I'm super, it's weird with my
Why
personality,
don't you
like,
stop?
because in my head it's funny and it's supposed to be funny.
I love that
I
you're
try
unapologetically you. I love it.
I try to lighten the mood, or like if it's a sad situation, if it's an uncomfortable situation, like
They're gonna be like,
humor is my
300 people
way.
are gonna have experienced job cuts, and you're gonna be like,
Yeah. 300 less people to deal with. Am I right? Like that's something I would try and lighten the mood with.
yeah,
And it's just
okay.
not the right timing.
Oh, this whole
Yeah.
conversation makes me uncomfortable.
It's my superpower.
I guess. I like though that you're 99.999% of the time so confident, which makes it more funny. But then like you can't stop the 0.0001.
The worst part is like if I say one thing that's like, oh, it is funny and it's good, that I'm like, this is it. I'm peaking and I'm like, I gotta keep going. And instead of just
So Grant calls that the
taking it
double
and running with
barrier
it.
because you'll cross the line where it's like, hey, that's not funny. But then he'll double down and keep doing it until you laugh again. And then he's like, I did it. And that's when he stops. So you might try that if, like, job cuts and you're laughing and like nobody laughs and
Okay.
you're just like, job cuts. Then
So I wouldn't actually laugh at job cuts. I'm just gonna throw
I
that one out
know.
there. But no, I mean we'll see next time. If it
Yeah.
doesn't land, we'll just keep going until it does. Or I get fired.
Doubling down gets me out of a lot of pinches, I'll tell you what. Like someone will be like, did you actually say like you didn't like her outfit? And I'll be like, I absolutely did.
I don't know
Take
how
it
that
out.
would
Take it out. Don't like that. Write it down, please.
All right.
See, it
So
didn't land.
perfect example. I do that often. So
Ugh.
okay. While they're in the library though,
You can't
um
you can't not write it down.
one man, one
Melissa,
of
son
the
of a witch.
that's not my name. One of the guards, or the two people that came from Highburn,
Mm-hmm.
had dark hair and the other one had light hair, and they referred to themselves as the King's Ravens. And in that moment, Feyre remembered something that Elaine had said when she was speaking in riddles, that it was two chapters before. Elaine says twin ravens are coming, one black and one white.
Mm-hmm.
And like that triggered something for Feyre to be like, okay, wait, hold on, maybe she's not, like, I don't understand what she's saying, but maybe we need to be paying more attention because she, in so few words, said this was going to be happening.
Yeah.
So at that point, I got a little. I remember a spark in
Me too.
me
I had a
was
little
kind of
hope.
like, yeah, I was like, ooh, I'm curious to see like how this is gonna play in. But then Feyre takes Nesta down all the way to the very bottom, which I was so excited about because I wanted to see what was down there that freaked Cassian out
Yeah.
to the point where he can't even talk about it.
Yeah.
But I was also scared to see what was down there if it scared him that much. Um, and she gets Nesta to safety, blocks the like area or blocks where she went so that they can't run after her. And then while she's down there, what did you feel? What did you think about like if you were in that situation, a voice it's dark, she can't see anything, and all of a sudden she just hears something speaking to her,
Mm-hmm.
not threatening, fortunately, but it's just like, um, here's a voice ask if she's the High Lady,
Mm-hmm.
and like I don't know, what would you do in that situation?
In that situation exactly where I'm
You are
surrounded
Feyre,
with
and all of this has
mythical
happened.
things, I wouldn't be
Well,
that
yes, not in
surprised. I knew
real life.
exactly what I was going down there for.
Okay, no, but you don't know all you know. Okay, don't
No.
pretend.
No.
All you know, and no, stop. All you know in this situation is that some horrifying creature lives down here,
Yeah.
and your main goal, a main objective at this point, is to keep your sister safe. You're down there by yourself in pitch black, and you just hear, "Are you the High Lady?" You're telling me you'd be like, "This is normal."
Yes.
Even even Feyre is like internally is concerned,
Well,
but
okay, I'm remembering. They didn't go down there by choice. They were chased down there.
they're
So
forced down there.
now,
Exactly.
with that in mind, yeah, I'd be scared.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would do exactly what she does. Is like, well, I'm either gonna die by this thing or I'm gonna die by the ravens. So,
Well, she was smart because she made a bargain, and
well,
I
yes, we haven't gotten there
liked
yet,
that.
but
Well, we were getting there.
we were very close to doing. Yeah. So, anyways, yes, she's an highlight. She goes back and forth with this thing and asks if it can kill them for her. And
Mhm.
he said only thing he wants in return, or I'm assuming it's a whatever. The only thing it wants in return is company, someone to come down every once in a while. And at that point, I was like, why the heck was Cassian so scared of this thing?
If I may, didn't it say it wanted a light, like a window?
Not yet. That's when they go down the second time.
Oh, they made 2 bargains with this thing?
Sure did.
Snap. All right, yeah, it needs a friend.
Yeah. So at first, all it wants is company every
Mhm.
once in a while. So she's like, done and done. Signed, sealed, delivered. Kill these people.
Yeah,
And then Cassian makes it like at that point, Cassian makes his way down there. In fact, I love that he was the one to
that
get
had
there
to go.
first
Yeah.
too. It just showed how willing he was to save them,
Mhm.
which is so
Okay,
sweet.
but, I'm remembering something about the scene. Right before this, Nesta and Feyre were finally bonding a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and Nesta's was so cold to Feyre. The only time they ever bonded a little that we saw in the book is when Feyre went back the first time from Tamlin when he sent her
Yeah.
back, and she told Nesta, like, "This is actually what happened," and Nesta said, "I went to go get you," and that was very
Yeah.
touching. Since then, though, she was very cold. You know, Elaine is my chosen sister. I'm going to protect Elaine. You're not part of this. Very
Mm-hmm.
like isolating. And so I think Feyre called her out and was like, "Why do you hate me so much? Why do you hate everyone?" And Nesta was about to answer.
Yes.
And then
When this
these
happened.
ravens. Yeah. And so that was so frustrating because, of course, we don't get
Because
to
of
know.
course I know.
It's
Well,
that
we
real that's like, stop playing with me right now.
stop it. Yeah. No, for real. That's how I feel like I had that thought towards Sarah J. Maas multiple times reading this whole series.
Hmm.
I mean, I love her. She can do no wrong. But during the duration of reading these books, I was like, are you kidding me?
I
Like
know.
multiple times with things getting interrupted or like coming out of the blue
And if
or
I
just things I
may,
didn't want to happen.
they never came back to that conversation, which drove me bananas. Like, through the rest of the whole series, they never like, they went through the rest of their relationship, and we'll talk about that more,
No,
but they never came back to this
they never came back
conversation.
to that. That's not true. They kind of touch on it in the last book. They do.
Mm,
I feel like we maybe would have gotten a more direct answer if this
yeah.
conversation had finished.
Indirectly, they came
We
back to all of this, but, like,
but we get an answer to it later.
yeah, so much later, a whole 2 books later.
Really one. I don't think the fourth one counts.
You don't count
I'm
the
because
4th one, the Christmas special?
the Christmas. Okay, I did. I said there's 5 books in the series, but now that everyone's talking about Sarah J. Maas has publicly said she's currently working on the next one, she's even saying book 5. So I'm like, oh, I realize the fourth slash 3.5
Mm-hmm.
whatever is like a novella. So in a series, I don't think it counts
Yeah.
as a book, but I count it because it's easier to explain than being like, well, there's 6 books, but this is the 5th one.
Yeah. I definitely think you didn't have to read that one too, because the
It sets up the 5th one pretty well, though.
Silver Flames like goes over everything you
I want
missed, like
it
within a
does
few pages.
it does, but they reference a couple things that happen in the fourth 3.5 whatever
Mm-hmm.
one in. I mean, if you just skipped from the 3rd book to the 5th book, you would not. There would be subtle references that you wouldn't understand, but you'd understand what's happening in the 5th
Yeah,
book.
exactly.
But I liked it.
I
It's
liked it
important.
too.
I liked it, and I feel like I'm glad I read it because it helped. The first 3 books, there's like maybe 2 or 3 chapters that we get from Reese's point of view, but the rest of
Mm-hmm.
it, we've only ever gotten Feyre's point of view on things.
Yeah,
This book, and I know that that's why Sarah J. Maas added it in, is because we
prepares
get
you.
multiple. Every chapter is a different point of view
Yeah,
for this and everything, so it eases you in because then in the 5th book it jumps back and forth between Cassian and Nesta.
yeah.
So it like
And it also just gives you a little highlight of like what a regular day in Valaris looks like, which I think is
mhm,
so cute because we always get the action and the drama, but just what about like a normal day? So I thought it was sweet.
yeah, I agree. And then also it kind of starts to yeah, I don't know. It was a really good I loved it. It was a really good transition, and I think that's why
Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed it. But so,
So Elaine is a seer now, and I felt
yep,
like she went from being a blubbery mess to a functional member of Valaris's society pretty fast. What did you think about her character arc?
I think it didn't exist. She went from being a doormat to being a doormat talking in riddles to then being a um someone a normal person, like in the episode of SpongeBob when I'm normal.
Hi,
That
I'm
then
normal.
hi, I'm normal. How's the weather? That's kind of I feel like what she turned into at this point.
Yeah.
And I mean, it didn't happen as fast. It's easy to look back and feel like it happened really quick. When I was reading it, I didn't feel like it was like that. It wasn't like you flipped a page and all of a sudden she was fine, but for how long she moped and didn't eat and only slept and cried to like the transition between that and then her starting to talk more normally and all that stuff, I feel like it happened quickly.
Hmm.
Um
No, she.
and because then and I feel like once they're like, "Are you a seer?" She's like, she doesn't admit it, but it almost was like, "I am a seer." The Sixth Queen is alive, and then like that's kind of what I felt like
What was
happened.
interesting to me though is that like all the doctors and everyone
The
who
healers,
was around her told all the Daemati people like do not go into her mind because that's detrimental to you
well,
and
they
to her.
couldn't. They tried. No, they couldn't. They couldn't get into her mind because of the cauldron. The
Oh, I thought
healer
they
said,
could, but she was like, "Don't even
"Uh,
try it because it's gonna be a
no,
mess."
they can't." The healer said like
Oh,
because they're like, "Don't even." The healer said, "Don't even try to get in your mind because she's cauldron made, and you won't be able to." That's
oh,
exactly what.
got it. Well, yeah, I
So that's
thought
why
she didn't
they're
add
just like
very much.
waiting for
Yeah,
Elaine to
and here
pull herself together.
she can see. She saw the ravens, and they're like, "Oh, you can see things." Tell me why she never does anything helpful after that with that gift.
That's not true. She does right here. She tells them that the Sixth Queen is alive because the one that they said was
Okay,
ill and couldn't
I'm
travel.
all
She
kinds of
tells them.
wrong. Tell me the story.
I think it's this book I've never read.
I know.
Elaine says the Sixth Queen is alive and she wasn't actually ill. They all lied. And then she says that they sold her into some darkness with some sorcerer lord, but she can't see where he is
Oh yeah, yeah.
exactly. But she does know that the sorcerer has like some black box. Doesn't really elaborate on that. And I'm like,
Mhm.
all right, so like a jewelry box. I don't know what kind of box we're talking. Um, he says that, or she says that he keeps other girls like the queen, but then
Mhm.
by day she's in one form, and by night she's human again. She's like a firebird
A
during the
phoenix.
day.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I don't think they say phoenix in the book.
I don't know. I'm just
Yeah,
saying
you're right.
words.
You're right. She says she's at or near a lake deep in the continent. It's very far from where they're at,
Yeah.
and hidden among the mountains and the forests, and that she's young. She's in her mid-20s, and her name is Vasa. So, that eh, to me, that was like, again, I don't know. I just kind of felt like we didn't really know anything. Like, she's a seer, and all of a sudden, she's like, "Yeah, I can control my power. Let me just tell you what you need to know."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that was kind of like, meh. But I liked her better doing that at least than like crying and just not talking. But I loved this part. Was a little bit of a redemption for me. Once I figured that out, Lucian volunteered to go and find her because part of me was like, get over yourself. He was just sad that Elaine didn't want him. But then
Yeah.
he was also like, I want to help. And that was the easiest way for him to know how. So he just was like, let me just try and figure out where she is and just go, like, leaves. Like,
I was glad he left.
ugh, I don't know. I didn't want to be. I was hoping, here's what because I still wanted, I liked him. I like him. Like, but
Yeah.
I was irritated with his character. I wanted him to go and like come back and save the day. That was what I was hoping
Okay,
for.
but how about when he says like he should go because his eye can see things that
Yeah.
others can't?
That part I was like, really? We've had 3 whole books with this guy and we're just now learning that his mechanical eye can do things that other
It's
people's can't.
magic, mechanical eye.
I know, I thought that was dumb. But
Ugh. But now we are on one of my most favorite parts of this entire book, which was, well, okay, I say favorite and it's like a horrible, terrible thing, but it's when the summer court got absolutely wrecked by Hybern and his
nah.
forces. Yeah,
The surprise attack.
the surprise attack. It
Mhm.
left so much room for the redemption of the Night Court coming to help them. So I got
Mhm.
super excited about that. But then also Feyre's power in this. You really got to see
Yeah.
how strong she was cuz she's been training and she's done a couple one-off battles, but just in an all-out war with her and more, it was so good. The action
I
was
like
so
that
cool.
I liked that this like fight scene was
Mhm.
very female led.
Yeah.
Like it was, I mean, for the most part, up until one point when we meet up with Reese on the like boat, it's just Moore and Feyre
Mhm.
like going in and just absolutely destroying
Yeah.
their armies. So I really enjoyed reading that. I
Yeah.
also was when they first announced this though, and they're like, "We gotta go help." I was like, "But the blood rubies!" I was like, "You're gonna sacrifice yourself by
I
going and
know.
helping them." Which again, just made me love all of them more because they're thinking big picture and about everyone else other than themselves.
Mhm.
Um, I was worried that it was a trap though. Were you worried about it being a trap?
No, not at all. I thought it was legit. And
Maybe I'm
I
just too skeptical.
you are very skeptical. I like
That's
that
true.
about you. But I thought it left, like I said, the window open for the blood rubies to be rescinded, so they could have that
Well, then
relationship
it
with
didn't
Summer Court
happen, and
again.
I I didn't like the way it ended though. So
Mm-mm.
after everything happens and they meet up with Tarquin,
Mhm.
like to me, I would be eternally grateful if these strangers, well, they're not strangers, but these people
Who were
came
your
and risked their
enemies?
lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, enemies risk their lives to save you and all your people. I would be a little bit more grateful, but he's like immediately. I mean, I guess he's also irritated. I get that, like with Feyre because he's like, I know what you did. They even were able to cross my border because of you
Because of
destroyed.
her, right.
And so I get that, but I also think I'd be a little bit more grateful
Yeah, same.
versus being like, "This is your fault." She's like, well,
Well,
"I also came and stopped it."
I know. Yeah, I think obviously there was the height of the war, so, all your emotions are out, but a
That's
little
true.
perspective would have been better, Tarquin.
Tarquin,
Mhm.
but I love Tarquin, so I was okay. You're forgiven.
I know.
So
I've
now
been real quick, I've been seeing, like, fan art of Tarquin more and more lately, and I redact what I said, I think 3 episodes ago about I don't see him as attractive. I see it now.
I've stand by. I've always saw it. I've always pictured it. So
Yeah.
Pat excited about that. So
Our
here we are.
favorite part of the book.
The High Lords meeting. All of them RSVP'd except for Tampon. Did you think he would show up? I didn't. I thought
I
he'd be over it.
I think I did not expect him to show up at the time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, what did you think about Nesta coming? Because she said she was saying she wasn't going to come, and then the last minute, she's like, "Fine, like I'll
Well,
go because I want to be able
they
to share
needed
my
her
story."
testimonial of what
Yeah,
the cauldron can do and, like,
yeah,
how much it messed her up and what they were willing to, I guess, sacrifice to, you know, play this game. So,
you know,
I I liked that she came along. I liked that she was trying. I felt like,
yeah.
again,
I
so often
this
in
is
her
when I
story, you see her up
up
and
and
down of,
down. I
okay, I'm going to
agree.
be better. I'm going to be a better person, a better, you know, female or
Yeah,
whatever. And then she crashes and burns. And then she'll kind of build it back up a little and then she'll crash and burn.
yeah,
But I think, again, I like the similarities with y- when you're trying to better yourself or
mhm.
better your mental health, that it's not always going to be like, we're doing good and we're up and we're back.
Yeah. She really set the tone for the fifth book with
Hmm.
how she. Oh, I mean, obviously, but like with the way she was up and down in this one,
Yeah.
and I feel like we started. She was on a more consistent upward trend. I feel like at
Hmm.
this point, like I don't. I just felt like she was asking a lot of questions. She
Yeah.
was like, she seemed genuinely a little bit more interested in like knowing more, and she just accepting that this was her reality now. So she
Hmm.
was like, "What?" It almost felt like she's like, "Well, I better make the best of it." Like,
Yeah.
and I
Which,
was like, "Yeah,
how,
go
okay,
off, Nesta. I love that."
sure, I'm glad we got there, but, like, you're given immortality with,
Well, they're not technically. I know I said this last time. They're not technically immortal. They can die. If you're immortal, you can die.
okay, sure, but they're giving if
Yeah,
they don't
but
get killed, they can
the
live
next
forever.
best thing.
The next
Yeah,
best thing with all these attractive males, the Prythian is like, unequal beauty,
I know
and you're sitting there mad
because it wasn't her choice.
because your life in the mortal world was so much better.
I know that. I think that's where it got me. I'm like, I mean, I guess it did start to get better right before this, but I'm just like, it's not like you came from your dream. She was mad in the mortal realm, like human
Yeah.
lands too. Like I don't,
I don't know. I mean, even the queens had it all, and they were willing to give up all of that to be immortal
or
in the phase
do what
sense.
they did
Yeah,
to have that.
yeah.
Like,
So,
but I agree. Anyway, so Tamlin shows up. He does show up, contrary to what I was thinking,
yeah,
and starts making a mess of things. I pictured him as like a drunken ex showing up trying to prove a point, but like not having no point to prove in this. Is that what you is that what you were picturing?
pretty much just someone
Yeah.
who's absolutely not all
I was
right.
really surprised by his actions though in this because I
Yeah,
mean, I know he's mad and I know he's mad at what Feyre did and felt rejected all over again. But to come at her the way that he did, I'm shocked reading this.
I personally think there was, and you're probably going to disagree with me, but there was still a slight gray area of, is he really
Nope.
the villain? No, no, no. Before the meeting, it was kind
Oh,
of like, a, is he really the villain? Yeah, we can see like he messed up. You know, he was absolutely the villain
I
when he exploded
understood.
on her. But then,
Well, and even like the choice he made with Hybern, like, did I like it? No, but like
but you can
I
kind of
understood that
understand, like it
up
wasn't
until
just
this
evil
point.
with no direction.
Exactly. Up until this point, I'm like, you're evil because you can't see the bigger picture and you can't get over yourself.
Yeah,
So
he's
you're
prideful and he's evil, but he
yes.
wasn't just downright like, "I love evil because I'm a bad guy." And you even saw, we had the whole
Until
first
this
book to
scene.
realize he's a sweet guy and he cares and whatever. But then this scene was just nasty for no
Seal the deal.
reason. And
Yeah.
that's where I was like, "He's the villain." And there it
Yep.
is.
And this scene is why I'm like he doesn't deserve a character arc. he he can just die right here and that would be fine with me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was also so impressed with everyone's self-control
Mhm.
while he like okay, picture yourself as one of so the other high lords, there's Hellion, who's a high lord of the day court. You're gonna have to help me with I'm gonna butcher these names.
I say Helion, but
Helion.
I
You're
don't
right. There's
really
only one L.
know. I don't know. Your guess is as
No,
good as
you're
mine.
there's only one L, so it is probably Helion. Uh, uh
Callias.
Calliasis Callias?
Here's,
Okay,
okay, Callias, Thesson,
High Lord
Baron,
of the Winter
Tarquin.
Court.
Yes.
Thessian, Baron. Yeah, okay, it was just Callias was the one. I was like,
Yeah.
it, yeah, yeah, okay. But so they're in the Dawn. They're in Thessian's the Dawn Court for
Mhm.
this most neutral meeting ground.
Mhm.
But I'm picturing myself as either one of them or like a fly on the wall. I think I'd be like this, like,
And for those
what
just
do?
listening, it's a jaw dropped, hands over mouth face expression.
But it's just like, what do you do? Because none of them know Feyre enough to defend her, but they all know Tamlin way better than they know her. They also know this is not how he acts. But then at the same time, like, who cares if you know anyone? Someone is just like absolutely laying into another person. Like, even if they have just reason, like, that's uncomfortable
Well,
to
and
do in front
he
of other
used
people.
very personal, inappropriate, private
when
things.
he when he said something to Reese about just I mean, there's no other reason to say this other than to tear someone down. But when he was like, "Have you noticed the noise that she makes when she climaxes or whatever?"
Mhm.
Like, I
Ugh, I
wanted to
was
throw up
so
and I wanted
mad.
to drop my book
I
because
know.
I'm just like that. I guess it'd be my Kindle I was reading, but like that is just so uncalled for. I
Uh-huh.
was
Uh-huh.
that again. Oh man, I keep saying that's what sealed the deal. That is what sealed the deal for
No.
me. Like,
And
that's just
SJM
awkward.
was so purposeful, I feel like, in including that to
Oh,
really
she
just make you feel
was.
like, I'm gonna throw up. It was so bad.
But then and then like and and then he gets all pissy when he realizes that Reese made her a high lord or high lady because he told her that she couldn't be one. That's not
I
how things were
know.
done.
I
Just all
I never thought that conversation would circle back. So
I know
I
me
was like,
neither. Well,
"Oh no, it looks
I
really
didn't
bad because you did ask that."
I thought once Reese made her a high lady, like that was the whole reason that Tamlin and her had that conversation to begin with. Like I thought, like,
Yeah.
okay, it's over and done with. She circle it, we've done a full 180 now or 360. What like that's been laid to rest. But when she
Mhm.
resurrected that and brought it up again, I was like, this is why. I feel like this meeting is more of the reason that conversation was included in the
Yeah.
beginning than they were actually becoming high lady.
Yeah. Oh, ugh, it was bad. It was a bad look. And I
I
felt like
know.
Tamlin was winning over the High Lords almost in saying all of this because he had such personal information and then just like absolutely, like you said, laid into her and like ripped her to shreds.
Trying to like just pull at anything because he's not getting anywhere with questioning her
Yeah.
integrity or her like willingness to help or whatever. But I also like that. I think Tarquin did this to throw him a bone. He rescinded the blood rubies
Right.
at the
Well, and
during
right
this
before
meeting.
that, though, Reese used his powers to take away Tamlin's ability to speak,
Ability to speak.
which
I
I
know.
was like,
No, it was right after that is when he
little
took
boy
away his
gets
ability to
punished.
speak.
It was
Yeah.
so funny.
He was so cool, calm, and collected until that point, which he should be. And then I can't remember if it was right after that comment or if it was after one of the other offhanded comments that Tamlin was making. But when Asriel, quiet, meek, shadow in the shadows, Asriel just
Mhm.
like stands up for her. Is like, you do not talk to my high lady like that or say things
Yeah.
like that about my high lady. I was like, then Asriel again
The
is just like so out of
loyalty.
nowhere, and then he says something like this, and I'm like, oh, I want
Right.
more. I need more from him. I need more about him.
That does make me want to know him more. That
Thank
does.
you.
I guess I forgot about that. That was really good.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah.
then the Thessian's craft master, whatever, comes in and they talk about because Tamlin is like, I'm here for trust me, I'm here for the good reasons. Like I can give you information on all of Hybern's stuff. Like I know
Mhm.
his armies. I know where they're at. I know he has all this Faebane. Like he has all this stuff. And so because Tamlin brings that up, they're able to casually mention that she's like one of these craft people have already come up with the solution for Faebane, like an antidote. Don't worry, I got you. Which to me, I was like, all right, I bet, sure, you happen to already like have that, but whatever.
There's the skeptical side of you again. I was like,
It sure
"Woohoo!
is.
We did
Yeah,
it."
look at them being on their A game.
I really did.
Um, and then what else? I'm trying to think. I feel like one other thing happens in that meeting. I can't remember though. Can you remember?
Mm,
I mean, a lot happens, but
Basically, Tamlin also just, like, once again, lays into Feyre saying she's the reason his whole court is completely gone now. Just they
yeah.
all broke up and nobody trusts him. But it's kind of
Oh,
like, was that her fault or was that your fault?
true. I remember. It's Nesta speaks up to kind of like, all right, I'm here. Let me say my piece.
Correct me if I'm
And I
wrong,
think
but I felt like her testimony didn't really sway anybody. Like, it
no, I
wasn't.
mean, it wasn't like this. Well, I think the thing is they didn't really, other than Bayron and
Yeah.
Tamlin, everyone else was a lot more sympathetic to the cause. They weren't sure if they weren't convinced,
Yeah.
but I don't think it didn't take much for them to need to get to that point. So it wasn't this like jaw-dropping moment of this like
Mhm.
eloquent speech that just changed everyone's
I
hearts.
think with how
But
much they emphasize that Nesta needs to be there, Nesta needs to heal enough so
you
she
just
can be
expected
there.
more.
I expected
Yeah.
that to be like everybody immediately saw her side and was like, "We're all gonna come and help." But then when it didn't lead to that and they still said, "Oh, well, we'll consider. Some of us will consider." I was like,
Yeah.
"Did she need to be there?"
Yeah. Okay, but then so meeting's over. It was the absolute crapshoot, but they did said their piece.
Yeah.
What did you think about the bomb that was just casually dropped about oh I keep saying what's his name again?
Helion. Helion.
Halion. You know when you say things over and over again,
Yeah.
it's hard to. Okay, so the bomb that was dropped about Helion pretty much being Lucian's biological father.
Lucian's
That came
daddy.
out of left ew. That came out of left field for me. I was not expecting that.
Why does that word throw you off so much?
I don't like it.
Okay.
Don't
Daddy.
stop it.
um, I liked. So actually, I think I had to reread that again because, like you said, it was so casually dropped that
Well, it wasn't actually even dropped. It was they just were
hinted
talking up.
towards.
Feyre put it together, and she didn't want to ask because I wouldn't either. But they're talking about how Lucian's mom was betrothed, like
Mhm.
was had a what arranged marriage. That's what it's called
Mhm.
with Bayron. Their family wanted power. They wanted the connection. She was in love with someone else. Didn't want to marry her, but couldn't wait for him.
Mhm.
And they're with all the pressure. But then also after they're married, because of choices that Bayron made during the last war, all her sisters were killed, and
Yeah.
she was almost killed. And all her sisters sacrificed themselves so she could get to safety. And then she got trapped, and Helion saved her.
Yeah.
And they started having an affair because Baron sucks and he beats her.
Yeah.
I had so much empathy
I
for
know. It's really
Lucian's
sad.
mom. But then I didn't realize that I mean, I know they kind of explain that Lucian has like tanner skin, but I didn't
What
really
threw
think about the
me off the most, I think, is that Feyre said like there's a reason that his brothers don't like him and that they
mhm.
outcast him, so all of his brothers would have known. That's where I was like,
Well, yeah, but I mean
mhm,
that's why all his brothers and his dad give him such a hard time
right, because they
because
all
and his
know,
dad has too much pride to publicly admit it that he's not his kid.
right?
But and that's also why Eris though, I mean,
Eris.
yeah, Eris spelled with an E, but
It is.
that's why Eris. I mean, we don't until recently didn't learn that he was not as mean as we thought he was. He's
So
still not great,
here's my
but he's
prediction. You
keep
ready?
going. Yeah.
Okay. Eris is going to have that whole 180 character development that we were
Yeah.
talking about earlier. I think he's going to end up somehow Baron's going to be taken out and Eris is going to be the High Lord of the Autumn Court.
Mhm.
And Lucian is going to be found out by Helion because
Mhm.
Lucian's mom was
Helion doesn't
his
have any.
true love. Yeah. And
Well, but
Lucian,
Helion also doesn't have any kids that
right,
he knows of.
right.
He doesn't have an
So
heir.
I
So
think somehow Lucian or Helion might nobly die
you
in
said it,
some way. And then Lucian will end up becoming like because you know how the
my
power
lord.
just
Yeah.
absorbs into them, I guess, like they just
I
realize that, oh, I'm the next in line. I wonder if something like that's gonna happen where then Lucian's the High Lord of the Day Court Because you can't have information like that and then just be like, now we're father and son.
Well, they don't. Yeah, so neither of them know still. But
Mhm.
I, I a little bit same with you, but I'm gonna go in a slightly different direction. I think you're absolutely right about Eris and like his
Mhm.
trajectory. I think before Helion dies, they're gonna find out somehow,
Mhm.
and he Lucian is gonna in the love triangle. I just whether it's Asriel or someone else, I just don't think Lucian's gonna end up being the one with Elaine.
Mhm.
And I think he's gonna fight for it, but at some point he's just gonna bow out gracefully,
Mm.
and you're gonna like be grateful for him in the end for doing that, and
Mm.
he'll just then ascend to
You
being
have
High
so much
Lord.
hope for
And
him, and I love that.
I
I love
do.
that for you, but I cannot jump
I
on that train.
But then he's just gonna be like a good friend at the end, High Lord of the Day Court, good friend, an
Mhm.
ally,
Yeah.
but not really a part of their lives anymore. Like that's kind of gonna be his exit.
Sure. Mm.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, we will see. We'll see in book 5,
Um,
6, 5.
I don't, I don't, I don't want to talk about this part too much because I didn't really care about it. But so then when I mean, they after all this though, they're all feeling kind of weird, and then Nessa starts throwing up, and they realize that's because she's connected to the cauldron and the magic's being used, and that
Mhm.
Hybern broke through the wall, so
Mhm.
he's able to get into where all the
Which
humans
that
are.
surprised me because this whole book was to prevent that from happening. So then random chapter and it's like, "Oh, it just happened and we all missed it and now we can't fight for that to be prevented."
I think that didn't surprise me as much as it surprised you.
It shocked me.
I mean, I was like, man, they're gonna lose. That was what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they go. Elaine's like, well, we can evacuate our house and try and get them with Grayson's dad. And I was like, why are we still talking about this Grayson
I
guy?
know. Also, to me, what can the mortals do?
I know. Well,
Like,
because here's the thing, their queens aren't gonna fight for them. We've already learned that.
uh-huh.
They're gonna no one in Prythian's gonna. I mean, no one in Prythian wants anything negative towards them, but they're all consumed with just saving their own people. They're not also worried about all these human mortals.
Mhm.
Like, and Hybern wants to turn them all into slaves. So they're screwed from all angles, really. So
Mhm.
I think he is their best bet. And I get that her dad has been preparing for something like this forever. He has high walls. He's the friend who has all of the dehydrated food in their attic ready for an apocalypse. He has the bunker. He has the things that your best shot at
Oh my gosh.
surviving as long as
Wait.
possible.
While we're on this, do I have the story for you? So, you know how you can get a cow in the sense that you would get the
Yeah.
butchered meat from a
Buy the
cow?
meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like you know exactly where the cow came from. There's no extra chemicals
Yeah.
put in it, that kind of stuff. So we do that. And we had told we all went in on a cow. Like you don't
Mhm.
have to get the whole cow. You can get, half or a quarter, or whatever. So we got a quarter of a cow with a few friends. Well, one of the friends was exactly what you just described, an absolute apocalypse weirdo. And
Doomsday
I
prepper.
mean, it was to the point where it was like all conspiracies all the time. I never personally talked to him, thank God. But we called him I don't want to say his first name, but we'll just say Tom. We call him Tom Armageddon because it was just he was always like, "Today I'm building a chicken coop so that we can survive the apocalypse." We're like, "What's your problem?" So anyways, we go in on the cow. They're asking us, "Hey, what kind of cuts do you want?" We said, "I don't know, just whatever,
Normal.
whatever the main guy who's leading this is getting, we'll just do the same thing. So we'll split it up all 4 ways of the same exact stuff." What we didn't know is that that guy was once again prepping for the apocalypse. So instead of getting, nice cuts of steak where you can get
Yeah.
T-bones, you can get ribeyes, you can get
Yeah.
sirloin, he got every single thing ground up to ground beef so that he could
How
trade
much
for
ground beef do you
bullets.
have?
I had
Oh no.
we had like 100+ pounds of ground beef. Do you know how many burgers I ate that year?
So many
So
burgers.
many burgers, so many meatballs, so many
You're not gonna
meatloaves.
take Tom Armageddon's
No,
opinion on stiff cow
forget it.
cuts anymore. So my parents are, it's kind of a joke. My parents are not as bad, but
Yeah.
similar to Tom Armageddon. I should start calling my mom Sean Armageddon.
Sean Armageddon.
um she but the thing is like my mom jokes about it, but like they're also so serious. I because I go over to her house every Monday because she helps watch my kids while I work.
Mhm,
And not every week, but often while I'm there, they'll get an Amazon delivery for something. One time it was a 75 pounds of dehydrated food. Like, or no, sorry, 75 days worth of dehydrated food in a
mhm.
bucket. I'm like, all right. And my mom's
Mhm.
like, haha, just in case. But I'm like, she keeps laughing and saying just in case. But then she got they got solar put on their house just in case so they'd have electricity. Like, then she buys all these like extra, like, these crank lights so that
I
you don't
I feel
need.
like that might make sense, like, for someone doomsday prepping if you lived out in the country, like,
Yeah,
away
my
from
mom lives
everyone,
in the
because
suburbs of
they're in
Arizona.
an HOA.
They have an HOA.
So
And
I
that's
feel
why I'm
like
like, where are you? All this stuff is just in their attic, like just in case. I'm like, where are we gonna go though? Like,
I
I get
guess,
you have the
honestly,
supplies.
do you. Better to be prepared. I feel like if
I
that's
know.
gonna
It just
happen,
it's
like,
funny
take me
because
out
I'm
with the
like,
clown show.
I know. It just makes me laugh because I'm like, at this point you need to stop joking and be like, we're seriously prepping for this. Like, stop being
Just
like,
in case.
yeah, just in well, and they have like 7 5-gallon water jugs, and then they bought like pumps for the top of them so that they
Yeah.
can like, and that's where I'm like, mom,
At
it's
this
fine,
point, it's a
this is who
safe
you
thing.
are. Like, own
We
it,
we
stop
one
pretending.
so Grant wanted to also doomsday prep, but not in the same sense of like, oh, the world's gonna end. But when it snows here, it's not even bad, but people react really badly to where they won't
Hmm.
drive. So they'll buy out everything in the grocery store. And like in 2020 when there were shortages everywhere, so we couldn't get a lot of like the normal stuff we get. So he just
Yeah,
wanted to get something and stock up in the sense that if we need to stay in the house for a week, we would have food. We don't have
yeah,
to go grocery shopping, which to me made all the sense in the world. So every time we would go, he would buy extra cans of soup and extra things of rice and extra things of whatever. Not rice, but like broth
just
or whatever.
non-perishable.
Oh, it perishes. We had all that for like 4 or 5 years in the cabinets. And I just was like looking at a pasta sauce and I was like, this went bad last year. And then I looked at everything. I'm like, it all went bad
No
last year.
way.
And so we ended up donating it because I guess you can
You
still.
did what you can do.
Mhm.
Ellie, you donated expired
No,
food?
we
You're the
asked the
worst.
guy. No, first of all, no. We asked, so it's a guy from our church. We asked him, "Hey, this is expired. Do you still use it? Do you eat it?" He was like, "No, absolutely give it to us
It's
because
not
it's
good
not
enough for me,
technically."
but I'll donate it to people who don't have
Well, that
food.
makes me sound horrible.
Quote, Ellie.
All right. Here I am laughing at an uncomfortable situation again. Let's just move on. Yeah, we
So,
don't like Grayson, and I
I
didn't
don't know,
care
I just
for
was
the
like,
full story.
I I also though, I will like Grayson's a was a jerk. They tried to glamour Elaine to make it seem like she wasn't Faye anymore because him and his
Oh.
family hate everything.
But
And what?
this was the point where they went over to Grayson, like, they all, didn't they glamour themselves as human? Yeah. Yeah,
No, no,
Reese
just
glamored
Elaine.
Elaine.
Everyone else,
Right.
yeah.
Reese glamours Elaine as human so that they could go ask, "Hey, could you, provide a shelter for the humans
Yeah.
when a war breaks out?" And then it is revealed to us that Jurian is there. And then
Yeah.
Jurian reveals that
Well,
he's been playing
because
double
that's why
agent.
Elaine and yes, I mean that's why Elaine was like, please, and then he goes, no, because I know what you are, and then like Jurian walks out of the shadows because he got there. And so but then Jurian, yeah, like you said, he tries to be like, no, trust me, I'm on your side. But I'm like,
Mhm.
why are you being weird about it though? Like, why did you show up here first? Why did you out Elaine? If he had not said anything, I think Grayson and all them would have been like,
I
absolutely give us the
don't
people, and
know it.
that's that.
It's such a yeah, I mean, I told you from the beginning when his name was brought up. Why do we care about him?
Yeah.
He's
And
so
again,
whatever.
skeptical, negative Nelly over here. I was like, not buying it. Even though Jurian was like, I swear, and he's like, I'm only looking for Miriam because I want to apologize. And I'm like, nope, don't believe
That is
that
a
for one
toxic
second.
ex statement. No, just give me their
Exactly.
number. I just want to apologize. No. Um,
Absolutely not. You don't get in like anywhere near her.
the one thing
But then he
that
did
changed
say,
me is when he said, "Well, why didn't you look into my mind, Reese? Because you would have seen the
yeah,
truth." And Reese said, "I didn't want to see Amarantha crush my heart."
I
Um,
know.
and so I was like, "All right, that's it for me. I believe him."
I I still didn't believe him, but that helped. And then he did give them good advice on what to do when they fought Hybern next,
Yeah,
about how like where the inexperienced soldiers were going to be to hit them on the left flank.
yeah.
But I just still felt uneasy about it afterwards.
Not I, said the pig. I was 100% on board with him at
It's not I said the fly.
that.
Why not I said the pig? Where did that come from?
From my friends in college, we would always be like, "Not I," said
You're,
the pig.
are you
Yes.
kidding me? I can't. I feel like you're joking.
No, I'm being serious. And I
Why?
say that all the time. I don't know. I just liked
The
it.
phrase is not I said the fly. It's from like a book, I think.
Well, perhaps the pig says it as well because that's, and I'm not going to change.
This is the hill I'm dying on. This is what I
Cultural
choose.
differences, I guess.
I'm chalking up to cultural difference. All right. I okay.
Oh no, your audio cut out.
That is because I accidentally hit mute on my mic. So I know we give her crap, but I really did feel bad for Elaine here,
Yeah,
having to like
I have a
be
soul.
in
I did feel
front.
bad.
I know. It's there. I felt put myself in that situation. I'm like, yeah, this would suck. She
Mhm.
still loves him. He is to her face saying he doesn't love her and then asks for the ring back. That I was like, knife twist. Like that that hurt.
I just,
um
when
the only
he,
thing that would have made that worse is if Lucian was there.
wasn't he? No, he was looking for
No, he
Vasa.
left to try and find Vasa.
Yeah.
Vasa.
Um, yeah, but I did like that Nesta just absolutely was like, "You stupid
Yeah.
idiot."
You piece of trash. Don't talk to my sister like that.
Yeah, and Nesta is harsh, as we all know,
You know.
so
Yeah.
I thought that was
What?
his good just desserts.
Yep. I I was trying to bring Not I Said the Fly back in, but it wasn't gonna work. um so then Jurian mentions that they should hammer the left flank when they fight him. The next day they fight him, they
Mhm,
do. They win. Woohoo. They go back to their camp. It's been like 5 days. They got into another fight, and this time Hybern's defenses are better and they're starting to lose. I'm pretty sure not like badly, but Cassian gets hurt a little bit like at this point, and I'm sweating. I'm like,
mhm.
oh no, because there's two battles and it's all of their people, but
Mhm.
they know it's not all of Hybern's. I'm like, how are
Oh,
they
I
going to do
know.
this? Because no other court has come to help yet.
Yeah,
Like, wait, or did the Winter Court come at this? I don't remember,
I
but
don't think so.
no, because they go back to the Winter Court. I think the
Mm.
Winter Court is helping at this point, but that's or they're about to, whatever. Um, but they're losing, and Feyre realizes they're losing, and it's at that point that she realizes she needs to find the Surreal to get the location of his true army.
Oh, that
And that
scene.
is where we're stopping for today because that is where we're picking up in the next
Oh my gosh.
episode.
I never
And
thought
I
I'd love such a
I say this every
disgusting
time. I
character
cannot
so much.
wait. I cannot wait to process this
I know.
with everyone
Well,
because I don't think I have, truthfully. I haven't talked about this scene with anyone since I read it.
I'm honored.
So the wound is fresh. It's open.
Yeah. Oh, that,
But I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to say too much in case
okay.
someone
Okay.
hasn't read that part yet. So the next episode is going to be starting in chapter 57 and then we're going to go through the rest of the book.
Woohoo.
For the next one. So
This
I am
went
prepared this week with
quick.
our chapters of
Yeah.
what to read. But I'm very excited.
Well,
This was
cool.
fun.
Yeah, I know. I
I
liked
have so
this one.
much fun. I love
Me
doing
too.
this. Honestly, I could these books, man.
These books, I'm
They've
so
changed me.
excited. Okay, as much as I love these books and I can't wait for the rest of them, I am so excited to start reading Fourth Wing, and I'm
Mhm.
feeling so left out because
I know.
everybody's talking about it, and I'm
I know.
waiting to read it
I'm
with
waiting
you.
too. I'm I really like the series I'm reading right now, but I'm also
Yeah, what are you
really
reading right now?
excited.
Tell us about it.
We should do it. We should I'm reading the From Blood and Ash
Mhm.
series right now. It's very good. I'm about to finish the 3rd book out of
Yeah, how many?
5, but I think one of them is a prequel.
Okay.
So, the first from what I understand, I could be wrong, the first 4 are, like, the main storyline, and then the
Mhm.
5th one is takes place before the first book,
Okay.
technically.
We should put a poll up and see what everyone wants after Fourth Wing because
Yeah.
I'm down to do Blood and Ash, but I also know Divine Rivals is a big hit right
Yes,
now.
I loved that
Mhm.
one too. That was
What's
it.
the
Didn't you
other
just buy it?
I did yesterday.
Well, the second one hasn't come out yet. It comes out at the end of in December,
Yeah. Oh, also Iron Flame will be coming out, so maybe
in
everyone
November.
wants the second one out of that one.
True.
We'll see.
I think
Oh,
if we do no, if we start we have to do Iron Flame after Fourth Wing if we do once we do Fourth Wing.
maybe, yeah. I can't wait. So I'm reading Throne of Glass, but I'm on the
Mm,
last book right now. And I mean, that is literally, I think, the biggest book I have ever seen in my entire life. It is
have you read Crescent City already?
not yet, but it's
Okay, I
bigger
was
than
gonna say.
Crescent City. It's huge.
Yeah.
Um, but this story, like I said, I feel more connected with ACOTAR because I think we're just talking about it so much, and it was my
Yeah.
first love into all of these fantasy books, really. But this series has been so long, and there's such a large character development because it's so long that
Mhm.
I'm so invested, and they're gonna rip me to shreds. I already know it. Every like I've tried to stay away from the reels, but everything I've seen is like,
Yeah.
get ready to be on this emotional roller coaster with Kingdom of Ash. You're just gonna die.
So yeah, we'll have to do a poll this week. We're for sure doing Fourth Wing next, and realistically Iron Flame after that since they are together. But we should do a poll to see what everyone wants us to do after that.
Yeah. I've got quite a
So
laundry list of books for you to read too. And
I
maybe
have a
we'll do
laundry
those.
I have a laundry list of books to read for the rest of my life. I my TBR continues to grow even though I am reading through
Oh,
it.
I know. I have seriously 6 books that are just sitting there waiting for my next, and then I bought
6.
another one yesterday, and I'm pretty sure that's gonna skip
6.
the line.
I have 43.
No, no, no. Those are, like, physically bought books, though, that are just sitting there. Oh, did you already buy yours?
I bought
43?
I think 30 of them.
You have a
Well,
problem, little miss.
they're on my Kindle, so it's easy. One, it's a lot easier to buy them, and two, um, it's well, it's just easy. That's it. It's just like you push a button and then I have it, and then it sits there, and then I see another one. I'm like, I
Did
want to
you
redo
take
this one
advantage
first.
of the, Kindle Day? The, like, stock your Kindle?
I have Kindle Unlimited, so I didn't because all of the books that are discounted were on Kindle. Most of them were Kindle Unlimited, anyways.
Nice.
So
When I said Little Miss, it made me think of all those Little Miss characters, and now
yes,
I want to do that next week and just create a bunch of like quotes that we've said. Like Little Miss buys 43 books without not
we should
having read
do.
them.
We should make like a male one man ones too, like little Mister goes to the grocery store and buys extra things. That happened
Again,
yesterday. I was gonna text you and I didn't. Yeah, he I forgot tater tots at the grocery store and I really wanted them for dinner. So
I get that.
he he goes, I'm gonna go. He goes, I want to get a treat too. So he's like, I'm just gonna get ice cream and tater tots. Like that's all. He said that. I didn't even ask him to. He's like, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna go do this. Just those 2 things. I'll be right back.
Does he listen to
he
these?
co-
Did he hear us? Like,
he's not. Oh, maybe I don't know. We had this conversation when we talked about it. He comes back. He goes back. I see that there's more than 2 things in his bag, and then he goes, wait. Like first he goes, I walked by these.
what were they? What was it?
He got stuff to make cornbread. We're having
Oh,
chili, and that's why I wanted tater. Like, and then he likes putting like crackers in his chili too.
heck
He's
yeah.
like, it was a sign. I walked past them. I didn't look
Oh,
for them.
I love chili. Grant
Yeah.
hates chili.
His mom makes.
Um,
We have his mom's recipe, and it's the best chili
you want to
ever.
hear the most messed up thing? And this will be it, and then we'll sign off. That's it. But this story is so, it has to be told. Last night we go to sushi, and I ordered one roll, and Grant orders one roll, and then we were going to share one. They brought out 4 rolls. I said, "Sir, no, no, we did not order this 4th roll." the crazy. And he was like, oh, let me go check on that. He comes back to our table. You can just have it. And we're like, oh, cool, thanks. We eat all 4 rolls. Tell me why he comes back to our table with the bill and
Charges you for all 4 of
he
them.
took off the edamame that we ordered for like an appetizer and put on the 4th roll, which was more expensive
Yeah.
by like $5.
Did
Which
you
is
say something?
no, because he was like, "Hey, I took off your edamame because it was pretty much the same as the roll." No, it wasn't.
It wasn't. I would have said something. You guys are
No, I'm
pushovers.
so nice. I'm too passive.
I'm surprised
So,
Grant didn't.
well, we were just like, I mean, we ate it. Like, that's fair, I guess.
But you didn't
And then
order it.
we
And
were
he said
laying
you could. If he didn't say go ahead and have it, it's on us.
I
I
know.
wouldn't have eaten
I
it.
know because we were laying in bed looking straight up at the roof yesterday and we were both like, that was so jacked up of them. Why did they I didn't order that and they said we could have it and then they come back and charge us because you ate it. Anyways, with that, have a blessed week.
Happy Monday. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Last part of A Court of Wings and Ruin.
Mhm.
And then we're almost done with this. I can't believe that. Ugh.
Yeah,
All right.
Christmas special. Bye.
Christmas special. Bye.